The desert stretched wide and endless under the cold shimmer of the twin moons, and she knelt there, her knees buried in the dust, her hand pressed to the chest of the man who had once been her enemy, and now called her by name, with a gentleness that made her heart tremble. He had saved her tribe when no one else dared. He had stood against his own people to shield them, and she had sworn before the stars that her loyalty would be his until the end of her breath. Yet even as she spoke the vow, her voice shook, not from fear, but from something deeper, a shadow that crept in her soul, like the whisper of chains waiting to bind her once more. The stars above flickered, as if listening, as if mocking her promise. And when he smiled at her, his eyes warm and trusting, she looked away, for she already knew that one day she would break the man who had given her hope. She already knew that her vow was a blade hidden in silk. He led her across the wastelands to the camp that bore the banners of his people, their colors rippling in the wind like old ghosts. They welcomed her with suspicion, their stares sharp as knives. Yet he silenced them with a single gesture, his faith in her absolute. He gave her food when she would have starved. He gave her a tent when she would have slept beneath the cold sky. He spoke to her of dreams of peace between their worlds, and though she tried to believe, she could feel the mark still burning on her wrist, the mark of the oath she had taken long ago to serve her hidden masters, to deliver him into their hands when the time came. Each night she sat by his fire, watching his face glow gold in the flames, and she wondered if he knew, if he saw the tremor in her hands, if he felt the war inside her, the pull between the life he offered and the debt that bound her to the darkness beyond the dunes. Yet, when he laughed softly and told her she was free, she almost believed him, until the wind carried her name, spoken by a voice she had not heard since the day she was branded. And she knew the time had come. The message came on wings of shadow. The sigil burned into the sand outside her tent. A sign from the masters who had made her what she was. She rose in silence, her face pale in the moonlight. And when she walked through the sleeping camp, her steps made no sound. She looked once at his tent, where he slept unguarded, his sword within reach, his dreams untroubled by betrayal. She thought of waking him, of confessing everything, of begging him to run. But the mark on her wrist flared with light, searing her skin until tears filled her eyes. She turned toward the eastern ridge, where the enemy waited, hidden among the rocks, their blades ready, their machines silent. She lifted her hand, and the beacon flared bright, a single spark in the night sky that would guide them straight to him, straight to the heart of the only man who had ever seen her as more than a weapon. The ground trembled as the machines advanced. The first explosion painted the horizon red, and she fell to her knees, clutching her wrist as if she could rip the mark away. But it was too late. The stars burned crimson, the air filled with fire, and she realized the universe had heard her oath and twisted it into a curse. The dawn came slow over a world in ruin. The camp was smoke and silence, his people gone, his body nowhere to be found. She wandered through the ashes, her throat raw with grief. She called his name until her voice broke, and the echo mocked her from the hills. She had led the enemy to his door, and in doing so, had opened something darker than war itself. The masters stood waiting among the wreckage, their faces hidden, their victory hollow. She handed them the seal of his command, the proof of her betrayal. And they told her she had done well. But she felt nothing. She walked past them, toward the horizon, where the sky still glowed faintly with the memory of fire. And when she saw a figure in the distance, limping through the smoke, his outline framed by light, she froze. It was him. His eyes, no longer soft, but burning with something vast and endless. He said nothing as he passed her, his silence heavier than any blade. And she fell to the ground, whispering that she had tried to save him, that she had meant to warn him. But he was gone, into the dawn, leaving her with the truth that loyalty, sworn under the stars, means nothing when the stars themselves demand betrayal.